Hello, guys. So this is kind of a take two on one I did the other day, and I'll probably close the other one and just do this one because I'm just going to go back over it with a little bit more that I just kind of recently found and thought it was interesting enough to share. So the the key that I believe all these puzzles have in common is just the act that you have to be playful and play out your role in history. And this was the one that was actually, to me, it was kind of one of the hardest by the way that Byron had, wrote it. But this one is uh, the Voyage of Columbus, or actually, it's the Voyages of Columbus. And I believe over here, this is Isabel of Castile that financed Columbus's voyages. And I'm going to get to like why I think all of this here. So, view the three stories of Mitchell's as you walk the beating of the world at a distance in time from three who lived there at a distance in space from woman with harpsichord. So that's all a starting point. Every bit of that's a starting point. But the part that we need to focus on right now is at a distance in time from three who lived there at a distance in space. And you could say from woman with harpsichord, but you got to be kind of like, you just got to kind of play with that one a little bit. But let's just don't look at from woman with harpsichord for now. So, at a distance in time from three who lived there at a distance in space is a voyage, right? So, Columbus had three ships that sailed from Spain. So, Spain is the from three who lived there. Silently playing Step on Nature, Cast in Copper. Step on Nature, Cast in Copper is part of the Columbus story too. And keep in mind, Byron tells that story, but he kind of mixes up the sentences, right? So the end of the story may be up here, or it could just be anywhere, depending on how he thought it would be confusing to read as we go through these. But they all are, or I would say 80% of it is Columbus related. So, and the rest will be just directional things that we would have to see or do to get to the cask. So, Step on Nature, Cast in Copper is Columbus landing like in Hispaniola, or there was an island that started with like GU something. I don't know the name of it, but there he saw the natives like wearing a lot of copper and just noticed that there's a lot of copper on this island, and he puts all this in his letters to Isabel the First of Castile. Um, Ascend the 92 Steps is more than likely the start of the voyage. It doesn't necessarily have to be 92 steps you will physically see. It can just giving you direction to start the voyage of 1492. Um, Also, Step on Nature, Casting Copper was a question that someone had gotten to ask Byron a long, long time ago. And his answer was imagine a leaf, right? And if you're, trying to think out of the box a little bit, you could argue that Columbus was a lot like Leif Erikson. He, came to the New World. But that's what I think Byron was doing there. Past the compass and reach the foot of the culvert. Okay, so on Columbus's later voyages, he's still trying to find the passage, right? So he is doing his dangest to find a way to the West Indies, even on his fourth voyage. And a culvert is just an underwater passage, like it's a not underwater passage. It's a passage under a bridge that water goes through. It's a passage. It's a water passage um, below the bridge. So that's going to be directional. So the culvert is going to be below the bridge. So that's a given there. So this should read like this: southeast over rock and soil to the first young birch, past three staying west of Wonderstone's hearth. So you really need to skip. You'll see a letter from the country, and the reason that you put those lines together is because on his fourth voyage, he's like, keep in mind he's still trying to stay west, but he lands in Honduras where he writes that he sees birch trees in his letters, and stuff like that, describes what he sees. But he's landing in Honduras, and then he's sailing southeast trying to stay west. So he's kind of, I'm not even sure he sailed. He may have just done that on land where he walks from Honduras, or maybe he did both. I don't know. But anyway, he's on the edge of Honduras, going all the way to Panama. So the three he passes is Honduras, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, and then Panama, and that's it, right? So the letter from the country you'll see is the letter that you actually write to Isabella, about what you saw, in the new country or new world, whatever you want to call it. Okay, so now that we've determined that that's Columbus, we have to play that out. Like, we have to figure out where Byron is pretending to be Columbus, in his playful way. And all of the puzzles are this way. So over here, if we want to try to combine the two, we can say that this is kind of like Isabella, which she's got the little bell in her hand, and then she has this kind of castle-looking thing behind her, and Castile translates to castle, and I think that's just what they're doing here. I think this is the painting that they just kind of reused. I think John probably already had her painted out, and then they just added all of this stuff to say Milwaukee, and then a few other little things they did here. So this is the given of City Hall being the Milwaukee clue there, and then of course the millstone, the key, and the cane for Milwaukee. Um, and then, but one interesting thing is a lot of people call this a whale's tail, right? Well, Milwaukee had I believe it was a ferry ship for a really really long time called the Milwaukee Clipper, and it was the last of the whalebacks, right? And that was kind of a Milwaukee thing. So I think that's all that is. It's just a very Milwaukee thing. I don't know if you would physically see it, where the cask would be, but that doesn't matter. It's just saying Milwaukee for the most part. So back to where it could be, right? So I would say at least 50% of the consensus says that it's in Lake Park. And if you were to imagine like having to navigate a ship, where could you do it, right? Um, uh, a The lighthouse would be a great place to start because you kind of help ships navigate, being at that lighthouse, right? You're helping them navigate safely and stuff like that. So you could argue you could kind of be Columbus that way. But I don't think that's where Byron put it. And the reason I don't is because of the way this thing starts, right? And in the lake park theory, they're going like all the way to Marietta, all the way to Kenwood, and then it's just a big long area when you really stand back and look at it. And that's not really Byron's MO, if you will. All of these things are very, very short for the most part. But if you look at it in terms of like why he puts stuff where he does, and he wants you to learn something, Milwaukee does have a very interesting history that does tie to Columbus. Okay, so the Milwaukee Historical Society has, or maybe I don't know if they have it now, but they did at one point have a copy of Columbus's original letters that he wrote of the discovery of the New World. And to have one of the original 14 is a pretty big deal because there were only like 14 or 15. Um, and I don't know if they even know which one the original is. I don't know for sure. But I know they had a copy of that thing. I saw a picture of it on Google, right? So I thought that was really interesting. And I'm like, okay, that would make more sense for him to put that there. So the building itself does look like and resemble Harpsichord, right? If you look at this right here. And I think there's a statue of a woman here silently playing. Now, that alone doesn't really mean anything. But when you put it in the context of Columbus and what he does, you could easily play that out because of the name of the street right here. That street was called Old World Third Street. So if we go back to the verse, as you view the three stories of Mitchell's, as you walk the beating of the world, like the old world, from three who live there, you could, Spain was the old world. That's where you would start, is in the old world. That's where the ships come from to discover the new world. So I think he's actually putting us at old world. Now, is it going to be exactly where I think it is on old world? I don't know. But that's where I would personally start because it does fit his thing of like being a very short path. So if you're going to imagine being Columbus and then I do not know which direction he's going. Right, I just know he's telling us that it's the beating of the world, old world, Harper scored, all this stuff is like right here, and then you got that was the only street in Milwaukee that had two names, being Old World and Third Street at that time before they called it MLK. So he could have simply just had us like walk right here and then go south and east this way to like right here. And then that's the passage that we just missed, trying to be Columbus. Or he could have had us like walk all the way around like this right here. But I'm willing to bet it was just going this way right here and then like back to here or something like that, going back to um, the old world. And that's what I think, like, that would be my best guess as to how he would do this one. But this isn't like my final answer. I'm still working on it. But this is my favorite place so far. Um, could he have you play Columbus at the Mitchell Domes where you have to look at new foliage and stuff like that every time you go to a different island? He could very well be doing that too. But I like this one more than any of them, just because you got an old world to start from, and going from old world Spain to the new world is what you would do. But that's it. Someone asked me, like, I posted this idea on Facebook, and someone asked me, yeah, but that doesn't have anything to do with the Germans. And my answer for that is I just don't think the immigration is as important as everyone seems to think. I think he kind of used it almost like a rebus in a way, just to get us to a city, right? And then we could, like, if you would think of a German city, then we would know to go to, Milwaukee. Things like that is the only thing I can think of that really makes any of that matter. I just don't think it does. This is just fourth, fifth, sixth grade basic history stories that he's just having a really fun time playing out. Some of it he can see something, and then in his head he's using that like he did in Houston, but that's all he's doing. He's just like more than likely just sitting in a spot that and he can see everything he needs, and he's just playing it out. But that's it. This is the spot I like, and I've been told this park is like all been redone. So I mean, I seriously doubt it's even there. But I think this is where we were supposed to be. Um, and that's my final answer for this one. Um, yeah, I just wanted to add this part on that I didn't put in the original video. Um, because I just thought it was kind of important. And then when I started reading it this way, like when I kind of like put all that together, it's like all of that is just a starting point. That's all that is. And then you would just, go from there and then just start playing out Columbus, and wherever you end up is where the cast is going to be. So, but anyway, that's all I got for this one. So yeah, sorry about leaving all that other stuff out. I kind of just thought of that later, and then just playing around in some of my spare time. I said, I wonder what that street was called before MLK, and then it said Old World. I'm like, well, that's uh, where you have to go from the old world to find the new world. So that would make sense. So yeah, just thought I would add that, and yeah, and then that's it. That's the answer for this one. So yeah, just be Columbus, do a Columbus thing in a playful way, and you'll get somewhere. But anyway, y'all have a good one, and I shall talk to y'all later.